Now, our next speaker to drive us down into the next few sessions is all going to be around technology and what is technology doing? How is it driving us forward, or is it driving us forward? Now, I don't often say this, but it is someone who has bigger hair than me and is probably more energetic than me. So be prepared to be dazzled as he comes to the stage. So without further ado, let's welcome our speaker, the Shingy, Digital Prophet Shingy, to the stage. Yes, woo! Come on.
Jeremy.
Thank you.
Hey, mate. Somebody's hungover, aren't they? Yeah, Jeremy. Hello. Hola. Hey, damn, that's my Spanish. Are we good? Holy shit, are we good? Yeah, okay, let's get on with this. I've got 30 minutes. I've got a lot to talk about. Let's start with this. Computers are absolutely useless. They only give you answers. Amen. So here's the reality, guys. I should know that because I worked for this company. We used to send out more CDs than people on the planet, but I was not part of that company, thank God. But recently, about a year and a half ago, we merged with Yahoo. So AOL, Yahoo merged together, and I drunkenly came up with a logo. That was my idea of the company name. We didn't go with that. We call ourselves Oath. And I'm not the only one from Oath. I have some of my colleagues here. We look after LATAM, although I can't speak Spanish. Fuck, dude. But here, what is amazing for me. This company is based on two things, culture and code, which is the only thing you guys have been talking about for the last 2 days. I promise you that we're going to get there, and I'm going to cover both culture and code, but in the heart of that is creativity. Am I moving too quickly? You're okay? Okay, we're in a dark room in the middle of nowhere, so let's continue. Let's do it. Here's what's amazing for me. The most abused word in our industry today is disruption. You know it, man. You've probably heard it 10 times today. Disrupt, disrupt, disrupt. And when I meet with brands, they say, Shingy, we want to disrupt. I'm like, how are we going to do that? They said, let's use technology. I'm like, let's not do that, because it's the actual business model that needs to be disrupted. So we move on to experience. If you walk out those doors, every single thing that you are touching is a brand experience. That's the word of 2018. But where I'm thinking we're headed is business transformation. Oh yes, the accountants are coming to take your job. But the reality for me is that why are we here? We're here because of the fourth industrial revolution. Let's start with the first. The first industrial revolution was steam. And then along came electricity. And now computing, the thing in your hands right now. But what's been coming at us for 20 years or so really is intelligence. So intelligence is that really soft, invisible, hard to articulate thing that's been coming at us, which frankly is the basis for everything moving forward. It's not artificial, it's not physical, it's just all intelligence. So let's clarify that. Every brand on planet Earth today that's going to be successful has to have a 360-degree view of people. You cannot just stick in one lane and say, that's my only lane. You have to understand what everybody's needs are. You have to be open to the community, you get that, but you also have to be open to data. Now, data is an abused word in 2018. At the beginning of the year, it didn't seem so nice. And it's incredible because if you think about it, if you collect data in interesting ways, you can have a relationship with somebody that's radically different than anything you've done before. But does it mean it's rainbows and butterflies? No way, man. Things are way less cool. In fact, if you've just started your career in digital, welcome to the end. And some of you are definitely young enough that you just got out of high school. This used to be much cooler 20 years ago, man. And what I'm saying to you is that it's very practical today. All the things you've heard so far is about how to be practical, but as well as inspiring. But here's what's fascinating for me. Every brand is a service brand. I don't care what you do. I don't give a shit about the category you're in. You need to service humans. And what I mean by that, all of these channels in which we're participating in need to serve in different ways. Firstly, understand who they are. Give them personalization. Yes, but that's old school. What you need to do is allow them to customize. We need to understand that you know me, but don't think you know me well enough, because I'm going to want to customize my own experience with you. And that's very, very important when we're looking after humans. Humans is what we give a shit about. So let's talk about that a little bit. I travel a lot. I speak a lot. These are the things people harass me about. Don't ask me questions about this crap. Echo chambers, privacy, security, AR, VR, MR, RR, AI, chambers, blocking. Don't ask any of that crap. Just ask me about fun. It's the only thing I got into this industry for. It's the only reason why I think we have relationships with people and brands. And I'm going to give you a story. 20 years ago, I moved to New York City from Australia. If you can tell by my accent. In Australia, we had 5 TV channels. I moved to New York. I bought that television. I subscribed and got 99 televisions of shit. Unbelievable how bad the TV channels are. Rubbish. And so from my experience, I decided 20 years ago to go absolutely analog. Sorry, only digital. The opposite. Only the internet. No TV, no newspaper, no radio, nothing. All about analog. Why? It was trusted. So I could trust who I was communicating with, how I was communicating, when I was communicating, where I was communicating. But then something happened about 4 years ago when it went from misery to sports on my phone. That's all I get, both of which I don't participate in very well. So the beautiful experience that was curated for me turned into an open experience that went from trust to anxiety. And if I feel anxious, you probably feel anxious. If you feel anxious, the brand you work for feels anxious. If that feels anxious, the work you're doing is anxious. And we're all starting to see that bleed in to the economy of how we touch people today. So let's get through this quickly. This is people in the wild. These are humans. These are how, if somebody like Harvard School of Thinking, they think this is the way that humans should be targeted. Okay, that's one way. The other way is thinking about Maslow's rule of hierarchy. In the 1940s, Maslow came up with this. The Maslow's rule of hierarchy, which I think is very relevant today. The only thing missing is high-speed internet, of course. But this is what's amazing for me. Technology is changing your behavior, but what it's not changing is your need. You have a need, brothers and sisters. It's rooted in the DNA of us as humans. That's why this will never be circumvented, you scumbags. But what I do know is this. If you understand the human need, it's half the job of fulfilling it, period, full stop. Understanding human needs. But can tech make people more human? Maybe. Let's get there. I'm looking for beauty in connections. Because I think digital currently is a little bit crazy, I like to understand how we're using technology to physically connect with people. I want to cover that with you right now. Like this. This is a teddy bear, a piece of technology you can buy that allows a child to hold this teddy bear, and it actually reads its biometrics and tell you how sick that child is. Amazing. Good technology. These little buttons called Flick. You can press one button and it does multiple actions. Favorite playlist, turn down your music, dim the lights, close your garage door. These are little buttons that don't rely on your phone. Wireless charging stations without pulling the device out, so it charges while it's in your pocket. You've got this.
Who sees what I see?
This is probably the most aggressive sizzle reel for connected Tupperware. But when you go grocery shopping and you put your groceries into this refrigerator, open up groceries, they go off very quickly. This is connected Tupperware that allows you to put your groceries inside these products, and it pings you to when you optimize the use-by date. These are connected devices. There's 34 billion devices connected to the Internet of Things by 2025. And things like this are going to be important. If you're working for a packaging company today, RFID is typically done after production. This is RFID chippable ink as a temporary tattoo. So what you can do in your skin, you normally need a keyboard and a monitor to do, and a computer. But you can do it with something like this as a temporary tattoo. So RFID printed ink is going to be very important in the future of packaging. Look at the future of sensors. So L'Oreal, amazing. They have this incredible nail art. I know you love nail art. These guys allow you to put these sensors on your nail art, which registers the UF outside and tells you what SPF sunscreen you should be wearing. That's amazing use of technology. That is technology making us more human, and it's also saving lives. Then we have wearables. Yes, the utopian experience of wearables. Holy crap, there's 500, almost 600 wearables in the category today of fitness. Has anybody got a wearable on? You got a wearable on, brother? Or are you just going to scratch your nose? What you got? What is it? Is it on your hand? No? Why? You ran out of battery? You couldn't give a shit about it anymore? Anybody got one on now? No? That's bullshit. Bruv, what you got? Fitbit, which one? Can I have a quick look on your wrist? Can that, it's, okay, not the Alta, it's the Charge 2. Can that tell you if you're dehydrated? No. Okay, so here's the problem with that. That doesn't have a 360-degree radius to people. That should tell this gentleman that he needs to drink more quarts of water to maximize his dehydration levels. That's what's happening. Because at the moment today, most of these wearables are pretty useless. They kind of do the same thing that your phone does. They're beautiful, but they're glamified today. That's why most people are going to wear them only for a short amount of time and forget it because it's not really relevant anymore because it does the same thing your phone does. But let me show you some that are unique and interesting, perhaps. So check this out. Braille. Finally, a wearable that helps the sight impaired. Amen. Or this thing. This is a wearable that enables you to make calls and listen to messages by holding your finger to your ear. It creates an ultrasonic sound wave from your wrist to the tip of your finger. It's probably going to give you finger cancer. But anyway, you can make calls and listen to messages just by holding your bloody finger to your ear. Or this is Pavlov. This is a wearable that will shock you if you do something you said you're not going to do. So last night when you went for that third beer with Jeremy, you should have said no to that shit. But this will just shock you, man. It's incredible.
And is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
If a player is tackled, then you get to feel the physical effect of that. But if a player is nervous before a kick, then you get fluttering, you get that kind of sensory
So when
experience.
I said brands want to be an experience, check this out. You don't have to go to Disney World anymore, man. You can wear a haptic plated shirt that will actually give you the feeling of what it's like to be a sports person live in your basement. You don't even have to go see this shit live anymore. That's brand of experience. It's crazy. But check this out. This is the weirdest thing I've seen for a long time. This is called the Gaze. This is a 3D dress that will morph and change based on your biometric. So it determines whether you're trying to attract the person in front of you or distract them, and the dress grows accordingly. How creepy is that shit, dude? I mean, I live in New York City, dude. I could use this shit on the subway every day. That would be amazing for me. Here's the deal. What about sound? So let me just play out 2018 for you. I spent a lot of time with brands, and they say to me, Shingy, digital's kind of crazy now. I'm spending more money back on television. Okay, it's gone back 10 years. And when I ask them, what are you doing for sound in your commercials? They say, hey, man, we either license top 10 music or we go royalty-free. Cheap ass. And what they've forgotten about is brand sound because of this thing. Who has something like this, an Alexa or Google Home? Who has both? Do you have both, Alexa and Google Home, may I ask? Oh, I'm sorry, you're eating an apple. You had? And what happened?
I had to make my pick.
And?
Which one would set up better with my home system?
And what one?
I chose Echo.
You Echo. Okay, so Alexa, you went Echo versus Google. Okay, cool. Check this out. Brand sound. So if you are thinking about more ephemeral experiences, you might have to think about your brand sound. If we're talking to devices like this young lady is, you better get your shit together on brand sound. Now let me explain that to you. If you think about the way that we're in this visual-based culture today, brand sound is another way of thinking about connecting with people, particularly if we're talking to these devices. However, the challenge today is if a 70-year-old man speaks to an Alexa or Google Home versus a 5-year-old girl, it has the same voice. But what will happen with these devices to create deeper empathy, it'll be genre-based. So the child will choose maybe a Disney character versus whatever the old man wants. But whose brand is this? Check this out. Intel. Took you 3 seconds to tell me that's Intel. So when you're thinking about all of these experiences you're trying to develop for the brand you represent, think about brand sound as another way capable to hold somebody's attention in this world that we're part of. Right.
どうして火星から来た男、金星から来た女っていうか知って
This
る？
is perhaps where sound is headed. This is a direct language translation device called Mars. So as you wear a headset, I wear a headset, it will directly translate your native language into English for me. The only challenge with this is it uses Google Translate, so it only works about 50% of the time. And secondly, men and women don't face each other at a bar like that anymore, so this shit's never going to work for dating. So here's where it's interesting. As I said to you guys, I haven't had a TV in 20 years, yeah? But here's what's fascinating for me. Now is a great time to buy them. Why? They're so gorgeous. Look at that bloody TV from Samsung. Or that thing. The frame. Beautiful. Looks like art when you're not watching your Hulu and Netflix bullshit. And what's amazing for me is that finally, televisions look amazing on the back as they do the front. But the thing we really need to understand, guys, is don't ever look behind the curtain of stuff because technology always still looks like that. But here's where it's interesting. Then we have virtual reality. Virtual reality was kind of 2017, don't you agree? Who here has tried on VR? Who has tried it on? That are not enough hands. Who owns a pair of VR goggles today of some kind? Who owns some? Can I ask, brother with the cap on, when was the last time you wore them? About 3 weeks. And what are they? What brand are they? Google Cardboard, you cheap ass, because you still need an $800 smartphone to make that shit work. When it was on your face 3 weeks ago, how long was it on your face for? 15 minutes? You are not normal. So here's what happens. Normally, I speak to people, I'm like, who's tried VR? 100% of the hands go up. Who owns them? Boom, nobody. Or cheap asses who give it to them free. And they said, I've tried it on 6 months ago. How long was it on your face for? 2 minutes before it made me feel wobbly. But virtual reality is an incredible experience. Why? Because it helps bridge a deeper type of empathy that we've never seen before. But we want it to grow organically. Otherwise, it'll end up in the 3D TV space. Do you have a 3D TV, dude? No. Okay, amen. We're good. We're friends. But here's what's amazing for me. If you think about the virtual beauty, here's what's fascinating. When you do try those things on, you do not give a shit who's around you. You know it's an amazing experience. By the way, VR has been around 20 years. It's not new. But here's what is fascinating. I love it when brands are ambitious enough to say, we're not trying to do stunts with VR. We're trying to grow it organically. Look what Nintendo did for kids. This is Labo Project. It enables kids to build the product like a jetpack before you throw them into virtual reality. So they're doing things in analog, which we need kids to do. We need them to move. This is an amazing experience. If you don't think that AR is a thing, you need to go to places like China. So in China, they've developed this amazing product that enables kids' virtual world and physical world to come together in a seamless experience. It's not smartphone driven. It's designed with products like this. But if you do want to know what I think about it, I think reality is even cooler. Check this out.
This is the Jaguar F-Type simulator. It's just sitting on a 6-axis hydraulic platform here. Roll you around, lift up, down.
How rough are we getting back?
Once you're wearing this helmet, that's really going to simulate exactly what it's going to be like on the track.
Very cool.
Make sure you brace yourself. Good luck.
Okay, Glenn, I'm about to start the ride.
Welcome to Jaguar Virtual Simulator. A full sensory experience combined with... So keep hold of the grab handles. Are you ready to experience the power of Jaguar F-Type?
Amazing, right? You know what happens next, you shit yourself. But here's what's amazing. Just understand that I don't think this is the human you're trying to target. This is not the guy you're looking for, man. We're looking to be far calmer than that. Because the so what you're just thinking, like, you just showed me a ton of technology thingy. How does it apply? It applies because, look, you started with, sorry, I know nobody likes Kevin anymore, but whatever, dude. We started out with cinema, you went to TV, you went to smartphones, and then you're told maybe you're going to have to market on something that's square, rectangular, triangular, circular, etc. If the world moves that way, creativity is going to be reborn in a totally different, radical way today because we can't phone it in anymore, literally. And here's where we head, man. Please, God, do not speak in the 4 Ps. This was invented in 1948. I think this is totally outdated. I think it's been updated to this. It's a reflection of our business culture, not a reflection of the way that people consume today. You are in the business of sight, sound, and motion. To do what? Create emotion. Why? 75% of purchase decisions are made emotionally. You sell to the heart, you justify to the head. That's the business. It used to be big ads, remember? Little content, and now it's just all content, little ads. So what do brands do? They try and hijack the internet because of ad blocking with crappy memes. They've forgotten about the long road, and we need to get back to that. We need to understand it's not just about targeting every single person with a deep, intimate relationship because the machines are coming to take your job. No, they're not. The machines are here to tell you what to do, not how to do it. That's the job of a creative. This is an old slide. I put this back in this morning. I think this is really relevant to today more than ever before, particularly for my friends from Twitter just a minute ago. How good's that? I'm telling you, man, when we get to the Golden Gates, we are in trouble. But here's the reality. In 2014, I said that what's going to happen is that people are going to defriend and unfollow. And people thought I was crazy. Here's why I believe that. Today, the open social web is closing itself down. So you've been able to buy on the open social web for the last 10 years. It's not how it's going to happen moving forward. Here's why. Let me prove it. Who's on Instagram in here? Instagram? Okay, whose Instagram is set to private? Who's just set to private in here? Okay, wow. All right, so here's what normally, thank you. Here's what normally happens. So it was probably 80% of the people that put their hands up. Some of you are totally bullshitting me, by the way. I love that. But here's what's amazing. If I speak to high school kids and ask them who's on Instagram, WhatsApp, WeChat, Line, 100% of them will put their hands up. If I ask them who's set to private, 100% of them will tell me it's private because the public stuff is to appease their parents. The internet is closing itself down. But you have to understand that when you go from a conversational brand, and smart brands are conversational today, you can move that relationship into commerce. So let me show you that. I know you guys are probably all WhatsApp, given where we are. But if we go to China, my people, we end up hanging out in WeChat. And in WeChat, this is an example of Dior. This bag was only released in Dior, only available in WeChat. Sold out in 24 hours. And the price of that? $2,200. So you can have amazing relationships that can convert into commerce from conversational brands. So how can you be the calm in the chaos? Well, the world is overwhelming. Understand that you're hit with 1,900 media messages per day. 1,900 in my own goddamn presentation. And then it's underwhelming because you can't find what you're looking for. And if you think about it, one of the largest contributors to stress today is media overload. So the shit you're producing on behalf of the brand you work for is stressing people out and killing them. Just kidding. The thing we need to worry about is attention. So how we can hold people's attention is critical to us. Because again, remember, we're trying to make people understand about connecting. Now, how are we going to do that in a world that's so totally tech-neck? I mean, if you think about it, the average iOS user unlocks their phone 80 times a day. A heavy user interacts with their phone in the 5,000 range times a day. That's a lot of interactions, guys. The vast majority of what we do is app-driven, and it turns out that people are spending less time on the apps. They're spending more time on the ones they care about. So how do we move this world from awareness-based advertising to advocacy? How do we go to a place that's word of mouth? We need to, because they are the power users of your brand. But they're looking for entertainment, number one. They're also looking to not be bored. Now, if you think about it, I grew up in the generation that when the sun came up, my parents kicked me outside and said, don't come in until the sun goes down. But today, kids are bored, so they want to be entertained. And when most people are trying to target youth, they're saying the older audiences are going away. That's not true. Those audiences are still growing and have lots of money. Both of them are very important to you. One's loyal and one's all potential. So speak to them differently. They agree on one thing. They love premium experiences brought to them by VIPs, not necessarily celebrities. And that's important for you guys to know. It's a distinction, which is when you create intimacy in a closed, interconnected network, that's where you build trust. And good brands have a point of view about that. You cannot sit in the middle. If you're a brand that says, we'll just wait and see what happens politically, socially, economically, spiritually, you'll be left behind. You know that. Brands that sit in the middle get left behind. You need a POV. If you're an iconic brand, you can do this. You can do ride signs without even logos. If you're an iconic brand, you can do this. Lacoste changed their iconic crocodile to a limited edition series of endangered species, limited to the endangered species. So some of those t-shirts had 20. Some of them had 1,000. And the problem with that is it sold out in 24 hours. You can only buy those t-shirts on the black market, just like the species. But here's what's amazing. Look at what happened in Vietnam. Coca-Cola changed each bottle top to be useful. So instead of it being trash, you've now got pencil sharpeners and bubble blowers. In the UK, KFC ran out of chicken. So they said, screw it. We're just going to embrace this, man. We screwed up. And the beautiful thing about it, it creates something like this. You have permission as a brand to surprise people. You have permission to be a point of view. You have permission to give people the velocity to share stuff. And that's important in this business that's driven in sight, sound, and motion to create emotion. Remember, to go to a beautiful, trusted environment in a world that's very anxious today, we have to understand that it's not just about storytelling. That's the most abused word in our industry, or actually story yelling. We need to move away from that and just tell good stories. Build great content, put it in smart places. Easy to say, hard to do, but you could end up with something rich like this.
The night can't stand the light. One day I'll fly away, leave all this to yesterday. What more can your love do for me? When will love be through with me?
Brothers and sisters, that is the Christmas story as told by one of the largest retailers in the UK, John Lewis. They're trying to move as much product as humanly possible off the shelves at Christmas time. But what are they doing? They're showcasing no products, they're selling to the heart to justify to the head. If you are open to the power of the internet, you can also end up with something as crazy as this.
One day I'll fly away, leave all this dim life, from dream to dream.
You know, it'd be funny if it wasn't true. And you can also end up with something as impressive as this. So here's the truth. It doesn't matter whether you do something emotional that's 4 minutes long, or you allow your brand to be spoofed or hacked, or people just generate content based on the inspiration that you create. We're in a world where mind share equals market share, and that's absolutely critical today when you think about how you connect with humans. And brothers and sisters, the real reason why I'm here is this amazing quote by Katharine Hepburn. It's my all-time favorite. If you obey all the rules, you miss all the goddamn fun. And isn't that the reason we became creatives? Thank you very much indeed. Cheers. Huh? Sure, you want to?
Shiggy, everybody. Come on, you can't fail to have been entertained by that. Right. Woo, that's good. Yes. There we go. I couldn't let him go without any questions. One of you must have a question in here for Shiggy. He is getting back onto a plane to New York in about 10 minutes, so someone must have a question here for him.
The question I normally get is, I'm sorry, what? Is anybody having a question? Are we good?
No questions for the last session on this main stage today?
I'll be here for about 15 minutes. You want to come harass me? That's cool too.
Okay.
My
Wow.
brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Much appreciated. Shingy, everybody. Yes. Woo. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is the last session on this particular stage. But you have three sessions to choose from now, as we have one in each of our zones before lunch kicks in. So in the Facebook stage right behind you, you have Hack in the Future with Maran Lau, who is the new leader of Facebook in Latin America. In the control room, you have Philip Morris International talking around how you transform the world with a product that used to kill you. You've got in the content room, Alejandro Betancourt, who you saw here earlier from P&G, talking about how you bring gender into the brand. So, without further ado, this has been it for the main stage. We will see you in the zones. Thank you very much.